for the whole family. This one features one of the all-time great broadcasters on radio and television, one of the pioneers in crooning on 78 RPM records, Bing Crosby. And we're going to hear the story of Bing Crosby, as Bing Crosby tells it, of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, with music by Mary Rogers and lyrics by Sammy Khan. So here it is, quite an interesting tale from Persia, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves.
A long time ago in Persia, there lived a poor woodcutter by the name of Alibaba. His brother Kasim was a rich fellow, but he was a greedy one, selfish, and he wasn't about to help Alibaba. And though Alibaba's wife often complained about their poverty, they just went right on being poor, year in and year out. Year in and year out brought nothing but famine and drought. It was difficult for a poor man to endure, for each year it got more difficult to be poor.
Year in, year out, there is famine and drought. There is famine and drought, year in, year out. Year out, year in, the bread is sliced more thin. The bread is sliced more thin, year out, year in. It's difficult for a poor man to endure. For each year it's more difficult to be poor. Year in, year out, there is famine and drought. There is famine and drought, year in, year out.
But Alibaba always hoped for the best. At night he'd look up at the sky and he'd say, "That's my star up there, my own individual star. Someday fate'll change my state. I only have to wait."
Though I am poor, and poor I am sure, how sure I am, that fate'll change my state. I only have to wait. My own individual star, my own individual star. Though I'm poor as a mouse, there right over my house is my own individual star.
Well, one day, while he was out chopping wood in the forest, Alibaba saw a band of thieves riding swift horses approaching. Fearing for his life, Alibaba hid in a tree while the thieves, 40 of them, mind you, rode up to a big flat rock on the side of a mountain. 40 thieves, 40. Can you imagine? Just about twice as evil as 20 thieves could be. Oh, the crookedest bunch of thieves in history.
We're 40 thieves, 40. 40 thieves, 40. Twice as evil as 20 thieves could be. We plunder and we pillage a city or a village. Cutting throats with us a specialty. We're 40 thieves, 40. 40 thieves, 40. The crookedest bunch of crooks in history. Crookedest bunch of crooks are we. 40 thieves, 40 are we.
Well, the chief thief galloped up and he called out,
Open sesame, open sesame. Let your mighty hinges speak, let them groan and let them creak. Open sesame.
And to Ali Baba's astonishment, the big rock opened up, and the 40 thieves disappeared inside the mountain. In a little bit, they came riding out again, and a big rock closed behind them as they galloped off into the forest. Now, being a curious man, Alibaba thought he'd try this strange password, see what happened. So he stepped up and he called,
Open sesame, open sesame. Let your mighty hinges speak, let them groan and let them creak. Open sesame.
Lo and behold, the rock opened. And Alibaba entered to discover a dazzling sight. Before his eyes was a huge cave filled with caskets of jewels, barrels of money, trunks full of fine silks, and more silver and gold than Alibaba had ever dreamed about. Well, he promptly wrapped up a goodly supply of treasure in his poor, threadbare cloak, and he hurried home to his wife and son, who welcomed him and his treasure with open arms. And so Alibaba became a rich man. He built a fine house, he filled it with servants, and he dressed his wife and his son, and himself, too, in the best of clothes. He was happy, too, and he thanked his star. Alibaba explained his wealth to his son. He said, while money and wealth weren't all there was to happiness, good fortune is bound to come to anyone who has faith and hopes and keeps on hoping.
When I was poor, and poor I was sure, how sure I was, that fate would change my state. I only had to wait. And while I waited, I cogitated, and the goal didn't seem so far. I cogitated, and I concentrated on my own individual star. My own individual star, my own individual star. I was poor as a mouse, but right over my house was my own individual star. My own little piece of the sky, my own little piece of the sky. Had no food on my plate, but I had an estate in my own little piece of the sky. I envy no king his crown, I envy no miser his gold. As long as I look above the town to the heavens each night and behold my own individual star, my own individual star. Take my riches and I won't grieve. Take the honors I may achieve. Take whatever you wish, but leave my own individual star, my own individual star.
Well, now, Alibaba's rich brother, remember him, Kasim, who was as greedy as he was rich, he found out about Alibaba's new and mysterious fortune. Well, he was as jealous as he was anxious to discover where Alibaba found such wealth. So he said one day, Alibaba, this is all wrong. In every family, there can only be one rich brother.
In every family, there can only be one rich brother. In every family, Instead of 2 or 3, 1 rich brother. That's how it's always been. That's how it's got to be. How come, Brother Ollie, you're as rich and fat and jolly as me?
And old Cassim, he went ahead and he pestered his brother so much that Alibaba finally told him the secret of the 40 thieves and their cave, which was filled with treasure. Old Cassim rushed off through the forest to the big rock on the side of the mountain. Out of breath, he called,
"Open sesame, open sesame. Let your mighty hinges speak. Let them groan and let them creak. Open sesame."
Well, as the rock opened, Cassim rushed inside and filled his pockets. He filled his hat, his cloak, his shoes, and his hands with the treasure. He was so excited in his greed that he forgot the magic melody to open the rock again. He tried,
"Open sesame,
nothing happened.
open sesame,
Nothing happened.
open sesame."
Still nothing happened.
Sure you don't think less of me. Don't add to the distress of me. You sure could make a mess of me. Unless you open sesame. Unless you open sesame. Sesame!
Cassim was trapped. He couldn't get out of the cave, and he could hear the 40 thieves returning to their treasure. Well, when the 40 thieves came in and discovered most of their treasure missing, they were more than a trifle irritated. "One of us is a thief," cried their leader.
One of us is the thief. One of us is the thief. And since we're all of us honorable thieves, this is beyond belief. One of us is a crook. One of us is a crook. And since we're all of us honorable crooks, for which of us shall we look?
"Look," called the chief thief. "Here's the one." And they found poor Cassim hiding in a dark corner behind some jugs of jewels, his pockets filled with their gold. Well, they chopped him up into pieces and they strung him up outside the cave as a warning to others. While all this was happening, Alibaba's home was a very happy place. Among his servants was a lovely girl by the name of Morgiana, with whom Alibaba's son was very much in love, and who he wanted to marry. But Morgiana, even though she loved Alibaba's son, she felt that she was just a little out of place in such a rich family. So she asked Alibaba's son to wait until he knew her better. But he said,
I love you, whoever you are. Whoever you are mine. Don't say a word to dispute me. I insist that you suit me fine. I want you, whoever you are. Whoever you are, you're divine. From our very first meeting, I'll just keep repeating one line. I love you, whoever you are, and whoever you are, you are mine.
Of course, Alibaba worried some about his missing brother Cassim. And when he found him hanging outside the thieves' cave, he was very upset. But he remembered what greedy Cassim had said, and he shook his head sadly. I guess you were right, Cassim, he says. In every family, there can only be one rich brother.
In every family, there can only be one rich brother. That's how it's always been. That's how it's got to be. So now your brother Ollie is as fast and as rich and jolly as you used to be.
Ah, poor old Cassim. He was duly buried, and life went on as usual for Alibaba and his wife and his son, and the pretty servant girl, Morgiana. But life did not go on as usual for the 40 thieves who were determined to get back the rest of their missing treasure. Believe me, it didn't take them long to find out that there lived in the nearby village a fellow called Alibaba, formerly a poor woodcutter who had become fabulously rich overnight and whose brother had just met a sudden and very violent death. Well, the leader of the 40 thieves, disguising himself as a wealthy oil merchant, visited Alibaba, and he brought 38 jars of oil along as a present. Actually, though, he brought 38 jars of thieves, because in each jar was hidden one thief. No oil, just a thief. Alibaba, suspecting nothing, ordered his servants to put the 38 jars into his cellar. He thanked the chief thief, disguised as an oil merchant, and cordially invited him to dinner. No one suspected the real truth except the beautiful servant girl, Morgiana. It seems she went down to the cellar to get some oil for the olives. As she passed the first jar, she heard a voice say, "Is it time to come out yet?" As she passed the second jar, a voice said, "Hey, it's hot in here." As she passed the third jar, a voice said, "Hey, when do we kill Alibaba and get out of here?" Well, naturally, Morgiana, being a clever girl, guessed the horrible plot. She quickly and neatly boiled up a lot of oil in a large pot, and she poured enough of it into each of the 38 jars. Well, with all the thieves safely boiled in oil, Morgiana crept stealthily back upstairs just in time to see the chief thief, the fellow that was disguised as the oil merchant, drawing his sword and preparing to kill Alibaba. She swiftly plunged a carving knife into the chief thief's black heart and saved Alibaba's life, and also the family fortune. Well, Alibaba was eternally grateful to Morgiana. He arranged a beautiful wedding for her, and she married his son, and they all lived happily ever after.
They all live happily ever after. There you have an ending that never fails. They all live happily ever after. The way that it happens in the fairy tales, it can happen to anyone who cares. The way that I care for you, it can happen to anyone who cares enough to make a fairy tale come true. So they all live happily ever after. It's the end, but that's where it really starts. For strange as it seems, that's the dream of all dreams, and the dream that we carry in